Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are unpacking something absolutely massive. We're talking about how an entire nation completely rewires its infrastructure and really its whole identity for the 21st century. We are diving into the sheer scale of Italy's ongoing digital transformation. So, if you've ever wondered what it actually takes to modernize a country's public services from the ground up, well, you are definitely in the right place. Okay, let's just jump right into this number. 62.3 billion euros. That is the staggering budget Italy has committed to its digital decade roadmap. Just to put that into perspective for a second, that is 2.84% of Italy's entire gross domestic product. It's not just a big budget, it is a sweeping, fundamental rewiring of the country's economic and social engine. So, here is our roadmap for today. We're going to take a macro to micro journey. First, we'll look at Italy's digital transformation blueprint. Second, accessing the digital state. Third, the innovation and skills gap. And finally, shielding the digital ecosystem. Basically, we're zooming from massive EU budgets all the way down to your individual citizen login, and then back out to national cybersecurity. Starting right off with Section 1, Italy's digital transformation blueprint. Now, to understand exactly where Italy stands right now, we don't have to guess. We can look directly at this incredibly insightful 2025 European Commission report. This officially assesses the state of the EU's digital decade, and it gives us a really objective, data-driven look at Italy's momentum. The Commission actually notes that Italy is showing a substantial level of ambition here, backing it up with a roadmap made of 67 distinct measures. When you visualize this progress, it's kind of like a race, and it reveals some fascinating contrasts. Look at the infrastructure track. Italy is absolutely crushing it with overall 5G coverage, sitting at 100% on track. And right below that, check out the fiber to the premises, or FTTP coverage. Italy achieved an incredible 11 percentage point year-over-year jump to finally catch up and reach the EU average. But, it's not all smooth sailing. Look at that third bar. Artificial intelligence adoption among enterprises is currently sitting at just 13.5%. The target? 60%. So that is a looming hurdle Italy urgently needs to clear if it wants to stay globally competitive. Moving on to Section 2, accessing the digital state.
So zooming all the way into the micro level, because, to interact with this modernized state, you need digital keys. And right now, Italy has two primary systems locked in a bit of a showdown. We have SPID and we have CIE. On the one hand, SPID is entirely digital, it's fast, you can often set it up remotely via webcam, and it gives you basic to intermediate security, basically your go-to for quick everyday logins. But on the other hand, we have CIE, the Carta d'Identità Electronic. This is a physical card with a literal microchip embedded inside. It requires an in-person setup at a municipal office for biometrics, which makes it the absolute highest security option available.
And this really perfectly illustrates where the future is headed. Here is a practical reality check you absolutely need to remember if you deal with Italian bureaucracy. By August 3rd, 2026, paper ID cards will be strictly invalid. It literally doesn't matter what the expiration date printed on the paper says. Aligning with EU regulations, only the electronic identity card, the CIE, with its machine-readable zone is going to be accepted. The digital state is officially closing its doors to analog identity. Of course, transitions like this, they're rarely perfectly smooth. For expats, international professionals, or dual citizens, there are some very real roadblocks you need to watch out for. For instance, you might face immense difficulty trying to activate SPID from abroad. Or you might run into device compatibility issues when you try to scan your CIE chip with your smartphone. Also, a huge mistake people make is assuming SPID replaces the CIE entirely. It doesn't, especially for highly sensitive legal stuff. Being aware of these actionable hurdles right now will save you from massive delays with your legal and administrative filings down the road. Let's jump into Section 3, the innovation and skills gap. Zooming back out to the national level, we need to do an objective reality check on what's actually slowing down this master plan. I want you to look closely at this number, 9. That is the total number of tech unicorns, privately held startups valued at over $1 billion, currently operating in Italy. That's an increase of exactly 1 compared to the previous year. For a country with the massive economic footprint and the historical ingenuity of Italy, this startup ecosystem is starkly underdeveloped. 9 is a tiny number, and it absolutely does not reflect the sheer size of the Italian economy. And the root of that problem? Well, it's pretty visible in this critical metric.
ICT specialists make up only 4% of the Italian workforce. That is actually below the EU average of 5%. The European Commission report makes this very clear. Italy is facing a critical skills gap. And it's not just affecting people with lower education levels. It extends to young people as well. I mean, think about it. You can build the fastest fiber networks in the world, but if you don't have the IT professionals to actually build things upon them, execution just stalls. But hey, the government is definitely not standing still here. Let's pivot to the positive horizon. Italy is aggressively pursuing sovereignty in strategic tech. They've recently launched a quantum strategy, and a semiconductor strategy is currently in the works. Plus, everyday citizens are already seeing the first pilots of the IT wallet through the national IO app, which actually lets them access digital driving licenses directly on their smartphones. And on top of that, the Transition 5.0 initiative is pushing the industry toward a sustainable, energy-efficient production model. They are really laying the groundwork for the future here.
Bringing us to our final macro theme, Section 4, shielding the digital ecosystem. So once a state becomes fully digital, how does it actually protect itself from geopolitical threats, cyber espionage, or ransomware? Enter the ACN. Established in 2021, the National Cybersecurity Agency is the central shield of Italy's digital domain. Before 2021, cyber responsibilities were kind of fragmented all over the place across different departments. The ACN was created to guarantee a unified direction. It unites Italy's defense against a constantly increasing array of threats, everything from cybercrime for illicit profit all the way to state-sponsored cyber espionage. The whole mindset shift they're pushing is summarized perfectly in this mandate from the National Cybersecurity Strategy itself. It says, cybersecurity must then be perceived not as a cost, but as an investment and an enabling factor for the development of the national economy. The ACN is working to fundamentally reframe security. It is not some annoying bureaucratic burden. It is the absolute bedrock of digital trust and economic growth. And their strategy is incredibly targeted. It's about protecting the very foundations we discussed at the start of this explainer. They are actively mandating cybersecurity requirements for 5G networks, national cloud infrastructure, energy grids, and essential state functions. Why? Because the line between the digital dimension and the real world has completely blurred. A successful attack on the cloud is literally an attack on the physical running of the country. And that brings us to the ultimate question we have to ask today. As Italy races to build its digital future with a €62 billion tailwind, will its workforce and security infrastructure be ready to actually sustain it? It is a delicate balancing act, right? You have the brilliant optimism of high-speed digital services on one side and the sobering realities of systemic resilience and skill shortages on the other. The blueprint is drawn, the funds are there, and the digital doors are opening. Now it's all about execution. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this helped clear up the massive digital transformation currently underway in Italy. Keep learning, and I'll catch you on the next one.